Kenny's very much into the music. He's very much an artist in the sense that he knows, he's aware of everything that's going on. He doesn't just show up, right, and the band's rehearsed. He just sings. He's there.
Involved.
He's like, yeah.
See, I love that, but that's why. That's part of the reason why he's great. I mean,
dude,
why
you
music.
cannot argue with his track record.
No. All right, it's Jason Wyatt here with the Nashville Way, and we get the opportunity to talk to Mr. Scott Bernard, Kenny Loggins' guitar player for 15 years. That's a big deal. That's a long time. That's actually not all that usual in this world.
It's a
you
long
can stay.
time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, are you sad about this? I mean, are you feeling the melancholy? Are you
This
feeling
melancholy is bittersweet. You know, it's been there's been I don't know how many different bands, iterations. Guys.
Yeah.
And maybe 5, 6 different groups.
And you've been there the whole time.
I've been there the whole time.
Now, you're the band leader for a while, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last few years. Yeah.
Okay. That's a different gig. It's fun, right?
Yeah,
you enjoy that part of it, leading the band?
Yeah, it was great, man. I mean, when you have a certain level of musicians, it's pretty easy. Just like, hey, man, like you all know where your voice lands, so learn that part.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're directing traffic at that point.
Yeah, and it's just like, Kenny or Kenny's manager would let me know, hey, man, we want to do this or this, and I would make sure that they would get we'd all get the right recording. Like if it was like an old song we were going to learn, I'd make sure we'd get the right version that Kenny wants us to learn and make sure we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Before we go into rehearsals or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it did the work tape. Did Kenny like to morph or change the arrangements a little bit so there was no records that
all the time.
Okay.
And that's one of the hardest things in the beginning about preparing for his gig.
Yeah.
Is that this is a great story. So the first show, no rehearsal, right? And I just show up in Atlantic City. Met him.
Okay.
And it was basically sound check and hey, Mr. Loggins.
Oh wow.
Kind of thing, right? I mean, it was like that.
Yep.
So that was bizarre, and I had the recommendations of the guys on my shoulders on there, you know what I mean? Like,
you got to prove it. You're feeling the pressure.
Yeah. And so we're getting ready to do I'm All Right, and it's really cool. It's he's changed it up a little bit. It's kind of like a swampy thing with slide guitar and stuff. And man, I learned the track. I'm ready to go. They started off differently. There's this opening that wasn't on the track.
The original?
Well, not the original, but the live track that I learned from that was given to me. Because they always change stuff, right? So I didn't know about this. It was kind of like this Louisiana kind of jam before the I'm all right part,
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm ready to go. They count it off, and then they go into this.
And you had no idea?
No. And I'm just standing there going, this is happening.
This is happening. And think that the worst case scenario.
Yeah. So I just kind of stand up and I look and so I just do this and I just smile at everyone. I don't know what y'all doing. I've never heard this, man. And Kenny looks at me and they all immediately know he got the wrong version. So and then it's like this little jam. It was 2 or 3 minutes of a jam. And then it goes into the thing. And once I got there, I'm like, okay, now I know the song. But it was probably, like I said, 3 minutes, but it felt like an hour just standing
Deer in the headlights. Okay, so did you actually learn the part? Did they actually give you the chords and everything? Or were you not involved in that part of it? So you could actually just sit there and wait to the intro?
Yeah, because I didn't even know what they were doing.
Gotcha.
It was just so... And Kenny was laughing. They were kind of just chuckling because they knew what happened. But once the part where I'm like this, because he normally starts out with just I'm all right, right?
Yes.
Or that's how the version I learned. But this had this whole front end that they kind of had more. Live when you play songs for years, you kind of morph into stuff.
That is one of the most terrifying things as a side guy to come in and have that happen to you.
Yeah, it was
kind of the worst, right?
It was like the dream that we all have. I'm like, dude, I got to this show, and you
had your pants on still.
Yeah.
Over 15 years, behind the scenes, what are some fantastic, fun stories that may have happened to you while you were in that? On the road.
I remember we were playing in France. It was Kenny's first time in France in I don't know how many years that he hadn't been there, and the crowd was really. I felt like it was part of the Beatles. They were that freaked out that Kenny was there.
Yeah.
And I mean the crowd was amazing, and we were just off. The main drag where the arc is. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna name it because I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's
the arch. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? So the venue is just off that main drag, and it's kind of like Broadway in Nashville. You know what I mean? That main drag. Mm-hmm. And so after we're done, Kenny has the idea of like right after the last song, me and Kenny would throw on acoustics and walk through the crowd and go outside and have the crowd follow us outside to like the street and sing some songs.
Okay.
And
this is on video more, or just for
this
live
just
experience?
like Kenny just wanted to do it.
Cool.
Right. So
by the way, that's cool. Like that's those telltale things are very unique to, and not every artist would do that.
Right.
Being like, I am not doing that. There's too many variables that I can't control.
Right. Song. Yeah. So and our managers and were at the time were like, because it was so tight. I'm telling you, it was like the Beatles. And so we go through the crowd and they follow us out, and we get on a park bench and we just start playing. We play a few songs. I remember we played "Love the One You With," that tune, and I remember thinking, great, I'm across the world, and then my wife's going to see me singing "If You Can't Be With the One You Love, Honey, Love the One You With." I'm like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah. So we did that, and we did "Footloose" again, and a couple of.
How did you get out of the crowd once you're all ready to go in? You said it was tight, right?
The crowd it was tight
around you.
So we're just kind of going through it, and it's on video. You can find it on YouTube.
Oh, it is. Mm-hmm. Not everybody gets to experience.
Like phone camera.
Right. Yeah. Not everybody gets to experience the feeling of that, where people are around you and just as a side note, what does that feel like knowing that that's a part of the entertainment industry, that's a part of the business, but, and I don't want to get too psychological on this, but knowing that, even though it's a part of the business, that's not you when you go home, and yet your kids, and how do you, here's the question, how do you enjoy that and still go, but that's, but that's not me when I get home. How do I live in those duplicitous roles? Because a lot of artists and sidemen cannot do it. They can't handle it.
Right. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Kenny is the freak out. Everybody's freaking out about Kenny. I'm just kind of, I get some of that because I'm associated with Kenny, but, I tell people, people will see me on a plane and they don't know me, and they'll kind of, are you a rock star?
Right.
And I'm like, well, I stand next to one, but
right.
I'm not a rock star. So I don't know. I don't take that. When people like what you do, they tend to want to compliment you and, take a picture with you. I don't mind doing that at all.
Yeah.
I enjoy taking pictures with people and autograph here and there, but it's
that there's boundaries. The difference between thinking that's actually who you are and the role you play.
Yeah,
there's a difference, right?
Man, yeah. I think people get wrapped up with feeling that's the worth.
Yeah.
And man, my worth is at home with my kids and my wife.
That's right. So when you think about working with Kenny and working on the road and all the other artists you've worked with, how has that changed your artistic style? How has it influenced your guitar playing?
Man,
over time, I would love to know what the difference.
Huge.
How did it do that?
Kenny's gig. I remember Chris Rodriguez telling me, "This is the hardest chair in pop music, the guitar chair." And
why?
He's demanding, good demanding. He likes to change things up a lot on the fly. He stretched me quite a bit. Like, gosh, the early years, it was almost kind of uncomfortable every now and then, because there were so many changes. You had to learn so many different versions.
Chordal changes? Arrangement changes?
Arrangement, chordal, licks, vocal.
Okay. All of
everything. And it was just a constant. It wasn't like you learned the songs and you played them.
You're always looking for something.
Kenny's very much into the music. He's he's very much an artist in the sense that he's aware of everything that's going on. He doesn't just show up and the band's rehearse. He just sings. He's there.
Involved.
He's like, yeah.
See, I love that. But that's why, that's part of the reason why he's great. I mean,
dude,
why his
you
music,
cannot argue with his track record.
No. When you gave me the greatest hits, you said, when I got my motorbike, put my ears in, and I just listened to some of those greatest hits. I didn't remember all of the songs that I was going, oh my gosh, that's Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
And stylistically, he never got stuck. It was, and if people come to me and go, you got to be in one style, and I get it, country and the genre wise.
I think nowadays you can't do what he did. I don't know that you can. I mean, in the 70s he was like this country rock kind of duo. And then in the late 70s and early 80s, he was the yacht rock king, He is the king of yacht rock, undisputed. And the 80s came along, he had this rock thing, Danger Zone, and, all that stuff, just the rock 80s stuff. And then the 90s, he went almost kind of R&B, and...
But that's cool for you, because knowing your abilities, that's actually more enjoyable for most players.
Dude.
Right? Rather than getting stuck in a thing. And I know a lot of side guys, even in the country world, and I'm not talking, I was in the country music, so I get it, but they get real bored. I actually kind of got bored too. At times singing the same stuff.
Yeah.
And that allows you to kind of try different things, because you're singing with them as well.
Lots.
You're singing harmonies.
Lots of vocals.
Yeah. Actually, I think I heard you sing the lead part on Footloose on the Bridge the other day.
Yeah. We all have step out parts, like I sing some of Whenever I Call You Friend, like Stevie Nicks' part.
Cool.
We shared that. We'll do step out parts on I'm Alright, Footloose, a couple other songs where you kind of take over the lead. You have to be a singer, to play with him. You just have to do it all,
We don't talk about that with you too. Your vocals and your ability to hear parts and lock those in. You got that gifting as well, and you've developed that obviously as well.
Yeah, Kenny's really been a blessing in that world, man. You have to be like instant. You have to be on a dime change, and like I said, he stretched. It was a stretching, but it was a good one.
Yeah. When you think about something you're going to miss about being on the road, but being on the road with Kenny, because you may go back on the road again.
Yeah.
What would you say are the one or two things that you're going to miss the most about just working with Kenny and that environment?
And oh gosh, the music. I mean, dang, Heart to Heart. This is it. That tune. It's just great. It's just great music,
and it spans so many generations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I met so many fans of Kenny's that became really good friends of mine, because you see him at a lot of concerts, and I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss seeing the people just kind of super genuinely touched by the tune. We'll do House of Pooh Corner, and that was the Loggins Messina tune that he redid on one of his children's records, and I mean,
see, as an example of that, a children's record.
Yeah, right.
This is what I'm saying. Is that? I mean, he just did him. He just did his thing.
Yeah, and so people during that tune, the people will be FaceTiming with family. Like crying, and they're FaceTiming with their mom or their daughter. Like
it's impactful.
Here's the song.
It's impactful.
He touched a lot of lives in that aspect. Quite a bit. I'll miss that stuff.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Especially the musical part. A lot of artists or a lot of sidemen would really want that job.
And singing with him was like you singing with a master.
Wow.
Master singer.
In what way? How did you experience that?
Never pitchy. He's kind of like McCartney in the sense that he could scream like a rocker, or sing Danny's song, or he could change his voice to whatever the song is, and he's just a master singer. He could sing with anybody, and he wouldn't be outshined. He could sing with anyone.
And he's even until the end, right?
75.
75.
And his voice
like
is
a boss.
strong.
See that? I like that too. That proves that you can. People can sing.
And he doesn't have
take care of yourself.
He doesn't have the wavering note, or someone gets.
The big huge vibratos.
He doesn't have it at all, and he's a machine.
So, like a lot of people that are going to watch this, for sure, are going to be asking things. Because listen, if you haven't seen Scott, you need to go pick up the YouTube and just check out some things, because you'll be inspired. If you play guitar or you love guitar, even with the guys that were around here at the church that we go to in Franklin, Tennessee, there's a lot of guitar players in the church who go here and are on tour with big bands. And they look at you kind of as a guy that they look up to. They're like, Scott's playing, like, wow.
Man.
What? So for a lot of people that love guitar, you're very inspirational in how you play.
Thank you.
And how you are able to come out and just play without anything. You just come out and it just pours out of you. So when you're thinking about other guitar players, because there's going to be a lot of guitar players out here, young, old, middle-aged, who go, man, are there some tips that you can give me, Scott? I know that I may not be like you. I don't know. What are like one or two tips that you can give them and go, like, if I would, like vocally, when he'll ask me vocally, I go, what are the two tips? And I give them two tips. So I give them like the top two tips. Mm-hmm. For you, what are the top two tips in playing guitar? Say, I want to be a great guitar player, and I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I want to be a great one. What two things should they pay attention to in their daily routines and in their practicing?
Try to learn different styles. Try to don't just kind of be narrow-minded when it comes to playing. Even if you just want to play rock and roll, it would behoove you to learn jazz, to learn some country licks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
R&B. You have to spread it out, because you can pull it into whatever style you're playing in. I morph styles into rock songs, or
I hear that.
You gotta. Your palette needs to be broad, and so to me that's a huge thing.
So pushing yourself outside of what you're normally comfortable with and used to, and trying stuff that you would not even like, maybe.
Yeah.
And then that's going to naturally incorporate into your own style.
Man, a guitar player, I just heard him quote this the other day, and I thought it was really cool. If you sound great when you're practicing, you're practicing the wrong stuff.
Oh, dang.
Isn't that great?
That is great.
Because if you're just playing the stuff and you can play well, you're not
pushing yourself.
When you're practicing in your room, you want to play the stuff you're uncomfortable with, because that's the stuff you need to work on. I thought that was a great quote, and I wish I would have said it. But
it is.
I guess I just did, but it's not mine.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember you playing with Adam Nitty, and I'm not sure those guys. You guys are playing a lot of notes. So in that style, that fusion kind of a style is huge when you're just ripping. You're going the whole time. How do you get your chops on that? Are you using a metronome to practice to a lot? I could never. Again, I'm looking at me. I'm not that great of a guitar player, but I'm like, I could never figure out how to get that quick.
Yeah.
But what are you using to learn that stuff, the fusion stuff, where it's moving all the time?
Yeah, man. I wish I could say I put a metronome on, because that's what you should do, but I don't do that. If it's like
but you've got good timing. But don't forget, you've done it in the past. You've got good timing from past. So
well, I guess the timing comes from just playing with records that are clocked. You know what I mean?
That's
and
true,
learning. And stuff like Adams, or any fusion stuff, if it's like a lot of notes, man, I just listen to whatever I need to learn first. I got to listen to it a few times, especially if it's really a lot of stuff going on, because you want to get the landscape of the tune. You know what I mean? You want to get the landscape of it. So you kind of get to know. You want to know the arrangement here.
Okay.
And then
you start taking it phrase by phrase.
I mean, stuff that's really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the funny thing is, if you're learning a fusion tune, that the guy who wrote it, those licks are kind of in his pocket.
Yeah,
so
out of his own.
It comes from his thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But that may not be what you normally play.
Yes.
Your
propensity is not to do this. To do it your way.
Right. Exactly.
That's
so
right, yeah.
you have to really get those kind of licks under your fingers, so you're not thinking. You know what I mean?
Right. Which again expands.
Absolutely.
What's your absolute most favorite song lick to play?
You mean of Kenny's?
Anything.
Oh gosh.
Can I
you know how broad? Do you know how broad that is?
It is. Play me.
Oh wait, I need to get a pick. So.
Okay. All right.
I don't
Just
know.
for the nerds, give us a 30-second rundown of the guitar.
I'll play
pickups and
on
this. I see this on YouTube. You're playing this all the time.
This is I use it a lot. This is a DiMarzio Air Norton. Here, this is a Melanson guitar. It's a builder from Louisiana. He passed away a few years ago, unfortunately, and he was a good dude, really good dude. And this is a Melanson blues wound pickup. It looks like a Telly, but it's more of a Les Paul kind of thing. You know what I mean? I like to say that when he was building it, I said, man, I want to. Because he does telly shapes and he did
you didn't
Strats.
You
I have a Strat as well.
Okay.
And so I said, man, I want it to look like a telly dressed up like a Les Paul for Halloween.
Oh, that's nice.
You know what I mean? Like he did the teardrop sunburst like a Les Paul.
Yep. Totally.
Good flame on it. It's all cracked and it's been through it. Yeah,
that's what's great about it. That's real road. That's not after the aftermarket stuff.
No, this isn't. I relicked it. Look at that. It's really. This just. This is the first. I know this is kind of funny. This is the first ping I got. You see that right there? And
oh my gosh.
I just bought this dang thing, and I just got it from them, and a week, and
you're kidding me.
and I was recording something at the house. And the phone rang. It's right before cell phones, you know what I mean? And so I put the guitar down, and a pedal fell and hit it, and I was so distraught. This was before like Relic was
that hurts.
cool.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't want that.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, I guess I don't mind it. A lot of road rash.
It's been used.
Yeah.
Think if that guitar could talk. Which it kind of does already talk.
Yeah,
you make it talk.
right.
But if it could talk about where it's been and all around the world, give me your favorite lick. If I did this by era, could you do it? If I said 70s, give me your favorite 70s lick.
Oh
could you do
yeah,
that?
maybe.
Kansas.
There we go. Okay, favorite 80s lick.
That's tough. I got to do this one, right?
Yes, you should. I'm gonna start acting like I'm flying on an airplane right now. Yeah.
Or the Footloose lick. Footloose lick was. It was one of these kind of things when you have to sing over it.
Oh my gosh! Yes, dude. That.
It's a very specific lick that the bass and guitar do together. Loose, footloose, kick off your Sunday shoes, please, Louise. Pull me off of my knees. Jack,
come on.
Get back. Come on before we crack. Lose your blues. Everybody come foot loose.
Come on, dude. I didn't know you were doing that. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's fun, man. That's one of my favorite songs to play with him. I think. It was so fun to play, man. It's really a fun song to play.
It is a fun
I didn't ever
song.
get bored playing it.
Okay, so big question. We talk a lot about health, and we encourage artists and sidemen and players and just musicians to be healthy.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is healthy in their minds.
Mental and physical.
Physical in their minds, spiritually healthy,
And
all
physical,
of those,
spiritual.
all three of those things. And we talked a little before about how hard it can be for some people to be on the road, to stay in health physically, definitely mentally, and spiritually. Over the years you've been on the road, which is more than 15 years, you were 15 years with Kenny.
Yeah.
But how did you maintain that health? What kind of tricks and tips did you do? Because there's people here that go, Give me something. I want to know how to survive and survive well. Thrive.
I wake up really early on the road. I'm not like, I don't sleep till 11 or noon like a lot of guys. I wake up early. I have a morning. You know, I'm a dad, so I don't want to come home and be sleeping until noon. Dad's sleeping kind of thing.
Right.
So I want to keep my schedule on the road as well, so I don't have to kind of flip flop. But what that does for me is gives me a lot of time. So it gives me time. Pray, spending time with God for me centers me, you know, and it keeps me centered. It keeps my trajectory. You know, if you're always checking your trajectory, you're never gonna be like that, right? You can always be where you feel God needs you to be. Number one, that's my thing. I walk a lot. I try to work out on the road. I try to utilize the gym for sure. Just to kind of get the blood flowing. Because if you don't, you can go through this. You wake up, you know, you
get lethargic, right?
Yeah, you're lethargic, and you know, the bus, you know, they're gonna pick you up to go to the venue, and then you just.
So you're disciplined. I mean,
you gotta be disciplined. Absolutely.
What's your habits like when it comes to food and alcohol? And I'm being real. I mean, people drink a lot on the road,
right? Yeah,
and they get. It gets crazy, right? And you're not doing that either, that kind of stuff.
No, I'm not there to party. I'm there to make money to bring home to my family. That's all I'm there for. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't blow money. You know, I don't. Right. If we're at a casino, I don't ever gamble.
Right.
You know, I want to come home with money. I don't want to lose it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And keeping your eating habits, I know you're pretty hardcore about that as well, knowing what you're eating, because it fuels your body to be able to maintain.
Yeah, if I
sick.
If you get carved up, you feel bloated, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling, especially when you got to go out and you know, when everyone's taking pictures and videos, you know. You got to suck it in. You know what I mean?
Hey, has there been a time where you were sick and
like while I'm playing?
Well, yeah, you were going to get sick and you had to go play anyway.
Man, I don't think that's really ever happened where I was terrible. Well, I'm going to take that back. This was before Kenny. This was with Mark Schultz.
Okay.
He's a CCM Christian pop piano player, singer guy. And we were, I had an inner ear infection. And, dude, it was brutal. I don't know if you ever had one, but you get on a plane. We had to fly to, I forgot where it was. It was north somewhere, and we had 2 legs to get there. So we flew from Nashville to Detroit, and then Detroit to somewhere else. And the pain was so terrible in my ear. It was really bad. And I landed in Detroit. And I called at the time, one of my nieces worked at an ear, nose, throat guy. The doctor said, you can fly. It may be real. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Really?
Oh, the pain. Oh, my gosh. The pain. It was ridiculous. And he said, you know, if your ear pops, it'll bleed a little bit. But, you know, you'll feel immediate relief. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I like that, but okay, whatever. So we flew to the next thing, and we did the gig, and it was just to sing with that, right?
Yeah, that's
it was horrible. Worse, but it was at a festival, and Natalie Grant was there, and they had bussed. We flew, they had bussed. And they had an extra bunk. She graciously said, you can drive back home with us.
Oh.
Because just the idea of going back on another plane, you know.
Oh.
So, and they had a doctor there at the thing, and so he looked in my ear and he gave me some medicine. He gave me a prescription, so that was great.
Relief.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Artists, musicians, anybody who wants to be in the business, they need to keep this in front of their mind, and they got to be constantly told, you got to take care of yourself.
Man, if you don't discipline yourself like that,
It'd be a mess. And you sound like crap too. So, you know, you just sound garbagey on stage. Yeah. And you go, that guy's or that gal's they've been doing something, and it's not been singing.
No.
And it affects the way it affects our creativity. It affects how we interact with our crowd. And that's the whole thing. We're here to entertain people.
It affects your work too. You know, if you're like not healthy, you know, you're not going to feel comfortable.
Right.
You're not going to feel good when you're sound checking or when you're talking to a fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you just want to be spry, you know?
You're kind of ripping off your... I mean, I look at it like that. People are spending their hard-earned money. You're kind of ripping them off a little bit. This has been an awesome opportunity, y'all, to talk to Scott Bernard. And if you've ever heard him play, I'm big into inspiration and motivation. And we have people we look up to. We have artists, we have players, producers that songwriters we look up to. And having good dudes, good ladies, that take care of themselves, are disciplined, are great players, that's inspiring to me. And Scott's one of those guys. Scott is one of those guys who I think, there's not a lot of you like you. There are some, but guys who can really play top of their game, but also can be good people, good hangs on the bus, right? And with the bands, people you can trust. This to me is the core of what it's like to be in the music industry and be healthy. Whatever you do, you're great at it. Your skill level and your development level is great, but you're a good person and you take care of people, right? And have you been with, just real quick, have you been with people on the bus that you go, oh Lord, get me off this bus, I can't do this anymore?
I think that you only play for 2 hours at most a day. And so those other 22 hours, you got to be hanging with people. So, you know, I would see there would be instances where I'd rather have someone who may not be quite as fluent, but a great hang. You know, because man,
you're echoing exactly what I was told when I was in music college. When I exited the college, and my professor said, "Hey, last thing, when you go out, have a great attitude, take care of your gear, and treat people right, and be on time, and be a great hang." Here it is, real time. That's why I love having you here. It's real time understanding and knowledge base and education for us as artists and songwriters and sidemen. So, dude, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. You know how much I love what you do. And
as
y'all
I
need
do
to,
you, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So, y'all check out Scott Bernard. Obviously, you go on YouTube. You're just going to get inspired. You're going to get encouraged just by watching. And to know that if they practice and they have a skill set and a talent, they can do stuff like you're doing. It's pretty inspiring, encouraging. So
it's work.
Right on. All right. Hope you enjoy this, y'all. We will see you later on the next one.